How's it going, everyone? Welcome. This is the Charlie Chats Footy Podcast with me, Charlie Casson. Nice one for joining me again. It's Friday. It's the second of a double whammy of episodes this week. Thanks for all your kind words and comments on this week's first episode with Shoppe. It went down an absolute treat, so thank you. I just got to give a quick shout out to my boy D-Kid for becoming the 5th patron of the podcast. He's living life down on Bondi Beach right now in Australia, probably sinking a few tins with his feet in the sand as he listens to this, which makes me very happy. So Daniel, D-Kid, if you're listening, thank you very much, man. Much appreciated. This is episode 9. It's with Thomas Turgoose. Thomas played the 13-year-old skinhead Shaun in the award-winning film This Is England, written and directed by the absolute genius that is Shane Meadows. It's got to be one of, if not the best British independent film ever made. It's just unbelievable. It's sublime. If you haven't, I can't believe there's people who haven't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, just watch it because it's unreal. Tom then went on to reprise his role as Shaun in the This Is England TV series 86, 88 and 90. He's a massive Grimsby Town fan. In this episode, we chat about Grimsby Town Football Club and how that helped create the special relationship with him and his dad that he had growing up, the special bond that brought them together, which is just beautiful and amazing that football can do that. We chat about his earliest football memories. We talk about Grimsby's big rivals, inflatable fishes, trips to Wembley, playing in Craig Disleys' testimonial, being mistaken for Gary Monk on the back page of the Daily Mirror. And of course, I asked Tom which footballer he would love to play, which footballer's story he would love to portray on the big screen in a film about their life. If there's one thing you do today after you listen to this episode, please retweet it. Please put it on your story. Please share it on Facebook. It takes 1 second. I'd appreciate it so much. You don't know how many people it can reach. It's amazing. You could share it on your Facebook and then your old PE teachers, dads, sisters, brothers, boyfriends, dogs, son sees it and then it starts spreading like wildfire then. So yeah, I just need a bit of help from you lot to give it a bit of a push. I'm absolutely loving doing this and I'm going to continue to do so for as long as I can. But that's the end of this introduction. This is episode 9 of the Charlie Chats Footy Podcast with Mr. Thomas Turgoose. Enjoy. Thomas Turgoose, how's it going, mate?
Bonjour, how are we?
Nice brew, nice cup of tea.
I was going to put it in my Grimsby Town mug, but it's been in my sink for a couple of days, unwashed. And in true fashion, I was running late this morning, so I didn't have time to wash it. So I just had to stick to one of my little Love Art mugs. But I'm loving the T-shirt, mate. I'm loving the jersey you've got.
To be fair, it's Grimsby colours. You've got white and you've got a bit of black writing on the bottom.
I've got black and white on, mate. So, you know, I'm the truth is, mate, is none of them fit me anymore because I put loads of weight on.
Well, this is a bit tight on me. Can you see it?
Yeah. I didn't want
My nipples are coming out.
Got it out of me already.
So let's go back to the beginning then. What was it like growing up as a kid? Was football a big part of your life?
Yeah, growing up was tough for me as a kid. I mean, I lived with my mum, my single mum, with my eldest brother, Carl. And it was just us two. You know, we spent a lot of time in and around the rough areas of Grimsby. You know, we spent a lot of time on the Nunsthorpe and the Yarborough and the Willers and things like that, which, you know, these sort of places are places that I walk around nowadays and I get the most nostalgic feel. And I'm so grateful for the places that I lived as a kid. So I'd never in a million years have a bad word to say about these places because still to this day, I've got a lot of really, really good friends, you know, that live in and around these estates and they really are the salt of the earth. So for that, you know, it was probably the best upbringing I could have asked for. But, you know, we spent a lot of time walking around the streets as a kid, you know, getting into a bit of mischief here and then. But mainly what we used to do is we used to play football all day. It's like, you know, whether it be we was kicking our football up against old man Brian on the corner's house or, you know, which much to his annoyance. But, you know, it was all we ever did. it was just, even at night time when it was dark, I remember there was a big group of girls that we had and a big group of boys that used to hang around with each other all the time. One which I ended up marrying, which I'm still with now. So there was sort of 7 or 8 girls, 7 or 8 boys. And, we just used to, all the girls would be sitting there, talking about whatever it is that girls talk about at that age. And we'd all just be kicking the football around, literally from morning until night. So I guess in that sense, it kind of like, and particularly as well, for me, football. I mean, I played it a lot when I lived with my mum, but my mum passed away when I was 13, 13 or 14. And I used to play football a lot, but I moved in with my dad, who I didn't really know that well. He was always my dad. I saw him sort of, once or twice a year, which, looking back at things isn't enough for as a kid. But I moved in with my dad and I was scared because I didn't know anyone in the area that he moved into. It was in a nicer area of town. I didn't really know my dad. I didn't really know my stepmom. And very, very fortunately, I bumped into a big group of people, the girls and the boys that I'm talking about. And they just used to play football all day. And to be fair, they was never really in any trouble. All they used to do all day is just play football. So it's kind of like it kept us out of the trouble that we might have been getting into if we wasn't playing football all day. So yeah, I kind of guess that it sort of saved us all in a way. Football. I never had time to play for a proper team as a kid because obviously I was away working a lot. I started working when I was 13, so I never had time to play for a team. So on a Sunday morning, we used to love, and I still do. I still love watching Sunday League now. I've got a lot of mates who play it. I've never played it, but I love going down and watching Sunday League. It's quality. I think there's an amazing TV series there somewhere in Sunday League, isn't there? The characters that you see there on a Sunday morning. You've got the lad who's so good at football, but he's just pissed all the time and he turns up hungover and he can't be arsed. And then you've got the manager who stood on the sideline having a piss. And then you've got
keepers having a fag.
You've got keepers having a fag. You've got people screaming at the ref. You've got when you play the Nuns Fort Tavern on a Sunday morning, they've got all their ruffians that come along with a crate on a Sunday morning to watch it. I think there's some gold there somewhere in Sunday League. Maybe we should write something about that, me and you.
Oh, mate, I'm on it.
I think we should.
So why Grimsby Town?
Well, so I originally, going back to when I lived with my mum and my eldest brother, my eldest brother, Carl, he was always a Man United fan. So he always wore the Man United shirts. And so I was always like, well, if Carl's a Man U fan, I'll be a Man U fan then. Yeah, I'm not. And this is before I really cared about football. And this is when Ronaldo was bursting on the scene. And, we was getting all the, the sticker books and you get your shiny Ronaldos and you've got all these great players, Rooney's coming through. And I thought I was a Man United fan. And, I had a few of the shirts and things like that. And I think it's probably one of the first things that I did with my money from This Is England when I was 14. He's probably went and bought the new Man United training kit. I remember actually I went to a premiere in Bradford or a screening and a Q&A wearing a Man United shirt. There is a photo of it somewhere, which often, much to my delight, gets brought up in football debates. So I followed United a little bit when I was a kid, but then, so my mum passed away before This Is England was released. So I went to move in with my dad. And one of the first things that my dad said to me was, one, you're in at 9 o'clock every night. You're not getting away with all the shit that your mum let you get away with. Number 2 is them Man United shirts are going in the fucking bin. And number 3, Grimsby Town play Morecambe on Saturday, 3 o'clock, we're going. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I'd never been to I'd been to one football game. It was a Man United game. But again, I think that's more of a show. I think when you go to, Old Trafford and the Etihad and, Emirates and things like that, it's to me personally, because I've got no real love for the clubs, as a neutral fan, it's sort of more of a show and a display of, amazing football, which you would never see in League Two. But I remember walking into Blundell Park with my dad on this Saturday afternoon, and my grandma, my dad's mum, she had a season ticket at Blundell Park, the same seat in the pontoon, for, I think she must have had it for 40, 50 years. So I'll never forget sitting with my grandma and sitting with my dad, you know, watching Grimsby Town, the black and whites, and just fell in love with it. Like, just completely fell in love with the passion that you could feel in the players, and you know, it sat in the pontoon behind the goal. You know, when our players are coming up and taking a corner, and everyone's like, "Go on!" You know, screaming in and getting high fives from the players, and you know, when the keepers, when the away keepers, they're taking their goal kick, and you hear, "Why you shit bastard?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get all that, and it's like, this is something that I'd never experienced before. And it become a weekend. It become a weekly thing. Me and my dad used to go, you know, most weekends. And to be fair, it was the relationship that me and my dad built up from going to Blundell Park and watching Grimsby Town was so important for me and him growing up. Because as I touched base just previous, we never spent any time together when I was a kid. You know, whether that was through any fault of mine or my mum's or my dad's, you know, it doesn't matter now. But if it wasn't for them football games, you know, we used to. It was the only time. It was the first time we'd spent quality time together, me and my dad, and it was just the best feeling. Like walking through the pontoon on a Saturday afternoon, and my dad's quite. I never realised how many people my dad actually knows, like how popular he actually is. You know, and you're walking through, and everyone's like, "All right, I go, yeah, you're all right, mate." And I'm stood there, and I'm thinking, my dad's the fucking boy. Like, look how many people he knows, and. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like, and I mean, even to this day, sort of 10, 15 years later, we still go to the football every Saturday. And I guess it's like, if we didn't have that, I don't know what we would have done. I don't know how our relationship would have been like, because then that we did that as a kid. So we sort of started that as 14, 15 years old, we started going. And then I turned 18, and then it was like, right, well, come on then, Tom, we'll go down to my local and we'll put a bet on. And we'll watch Jeff and the boys, and then that led into my dad coming out on the piss with me a lot, and you know, spending a lot of time with my friends, and you know, he's been on holiday with me and my friends and stuff. He came to Magaluf with us in Ibiza, so like me and my dad, like we're best mates, and it's like, if it wasn't for football, if it wasn't for Blundell Park, then I genuinely don't know how we would have been. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I guess it's like, in that sense, football was one of the most important things for me, because as a 14-year-old kid who's just lost his mum, who was his best friend, it's like, it was like the most, I remember I sat in my bedroom at my dad's, in my new house at my dad's for like 4 or 5 days, and I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do, because I was living at a house with a man that I never really knew, and with no friends, and it was kind of like, yeah, I guess football really, really saved me from that. So, yeah.
So for you, carrying on with Grimsby Town, who are your biggest rivals?
Grimsby's biggest rivals? For my main years of supporting Town, it was always Lincoln, I think. Because we was in a similar sort of league. And I mean, you know, on the map, technically we're closer to Scunthorpe. But they was always leagues above. They was always a bit better in my time. But when we drew Scunny in a cup, oh my God, I remember, yeah, we drew him in the cup, in the Johnson's Paint, I think it was. Scunny away on a Tuesday night. Oh, fucking hell, I think we beat him 3-1. I mean, in the
JPT, what dreams are made of, innit?
Yeah, Glanford Park. I must have been 18, 19. So I was in the peak of, like, loving a booze up, you know, just being with the boys and just I think when you're 18, 19, you're allowed to not give a fuck. And Scunny away on a Tuesday night, that was a perfect example. So, I mean, we've got Scunny, but Lincoln for us, you know, that was always a big one, because we was in a similar league. You know, we spent a lot of time in the conference together. You
done Scunny this season away, didn't you?
We did, yeah. So Scunny got relegated from League One, so they're in League Two. So we're in the same league now. They beat us at home, but we beat them. So they got an away win. So they got but it was bittersweet when we sort of beat them away, because we scored 2 and they only scored 1. So
did you go?
Yeah, I went to them both. Yeah. I went above and beyond to get to that Scunny away game. I was, you know, Yeah, I mean, I was not going to miss it. I mean, I pulled in a lot of favours to get tickets and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it was it was a special day. I got a parking ticket there. It cost me £100 or something. But I just genuinely didn't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah.
car and had a parking ticket, and I was like, I don't care. I'm not bothered. We'll just beat Scunny 2-0. So we spent a lot of time in the same league as Lincoln. You know, and to be fair to Lincoln, when we play them, they always had great support. It was a great day out going to Lincoln to Sinsel Bank. But because it was so... I mean, Lincoln City is a great day out anyway. I love going to Lincoln. It's a beautiful city. Mm. But when Grimsby are playing them, it's so policed. And with me being, you know, with me being recognisable amongst the football lads, you know, and I'm quite loud on social media and things like that, and I'm passionate about Grimsby. So if I went to Lincoln on a Saturday afternoon, if we was playing them, it probably wouldn't be the best of ideas. One, because when I've had a pint, I just can't keep my gob shut anyway. So God knows where that'd end up. And because it's so well policed, it's like, you know, it would never be a problem. But so yeah, Sinsel Bank's always a good day out. You know, they always make some noise when they came here. But you know, a couple of years ago, was it the Cowley brothers they had, wasn't it?
Yeah, Danny Cowley.
Yeah, so they, you know,
that's when they went on that mad FA Cup run. They got to the quarters, didn't they?
Yeah, and they deserved it, man. I think they did. There was no denying it. They deserved to get promoted, and you know, and it was nice to see him. Well, it wasn't nice to see because I wish it was us, but you know, I'm a football fan, and I applaud good football, and I applaud a good team, and that year they was really, really good, and there was a class above, and they deserved to go up. So, you know, fair play to them. But we was just so fortunate that when we came up, Scunny came down. So we've got that. We've got that big away day. But even like Notts County was always a big day away a big away day for us, because that's not too far away. Mansfield's another one. So you see, we've got quite a few sort of local derbies. But yeah, I think if you ask any sort of passionate Grimsby Town fan, I think Lincoln Scunny would be the one at the minute. Yeah.
I was at a Barnet Grimsby game at the Hive at home a couple of years ago, and the Grimsby fans were behind the goal, filled up every seat, and they had all these inflatables, and 2 lads got arrested for assaulting a Barnet steward with a shark. What's that shark?
With Harry Haddock, yeah. Yeah, I saw all that. That was amazing. Yeah, Grimsby Town fans are very loud on social media when something like that happens. Yeah.
Is Harry Haddock your mascot then?
He's not a mascot, but he's affiliated with the club. He has been for as long as I can remember, and probably as long as my dad can remember. But yeah, Harry Haddock is an inflatable fish you can buy him from the club shop. Yeah,
nice, I mean, plug in there.
Just a bit of plug-in, yeah. I did have one at my dad's house for a long time, actually. I think I bought it when I was a kid. I think I was planning on taking it on Soccer AM. I went on Soccer AM for the first time when I was a kid. And it was kind of like, I rang him going, oh, I'm good on Soccer AM, can I have a free T-shirt? So I must have only been 14, 15. It was like, yeah, of course you can come in and get one. And then I was like, oh, can I have one of them fish as well? So I think I was planning on taking that on Soccer AM, which I never. Did I take it? I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, I remember the whole thing that went on. And then there was talks of them banning the inflatables from the game, wasn't there? Mm-hmm. But then I think the week after, everyone took them. There was so many of them because everyone was just like, oh, if you're banning them, if you're taking them away from them, we're going out like screaming about it. Yeah, that was good fun. But I think the steward made a meal of that, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah, it's an inflatable shark. I mean,
that's what happens when Northerners meet Southerners, mate. Do you know what I mean?
It's true. I think he slapped the steward round the face from behind with the fish, and he's just
love it.
It is quite funny. I mean, I would have. If I was that steward, I don't know, he must have been in a bad mood because I'd just turn around and have a laugh of it. Do you know what I mean? If he turned around and like laugh with the Grimsby fans, it would have been a bit of banter.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you've been smashed around the face with something, hadn't you? I mean, I don't think it would have hurt him, but I think when you've got rowdy people like that, you know, you sometimes get the stewards who aren't up for a laugh, and which is fair enough. You know, maybe
you got 2,000 Northerners behind the goal going, "Wee!" Like it's going to piss you off.
Like some of the ones. Did you see that? all of the Grimsby Town fans chanting at that steward that looked like Harry Maguire. Did you see that?
Oh my God, is that Grimsby?
Yeah, that was Grimsby. Yeah. I can't remember where it was. I mean, people always say, "Oh, football fans are yobbos." It's like, I mean, fucking A for creativity when it comes to some of the songs, some of the chants that cut that. I mean, they're just amazing. Sometimes, you know, if because I don't sit in the pontoon anymore because my eyesight's so bad. I sit in the main stand now, so I sit at the side so I can see it all. And sometimes you hear one of the songs that you've not heard, and you're like, it's just amazing. Who's coming up with these things? It's fucking brilliant.
We Piss on Your Fish is one they sing, isn't it? Piss
on Your Fish is a great. I mean, that's a classic. That's. I remember when I first heard that in Blundell Park, and I was fucking bending. Yeah, that's a brilliant one. I've got We Only Sing When We're Fishing. What was it? A personal favourite of mine was we had a player called Adrian Forbes. I don't know where else he played. I can't remember if he went on to anywhere. But, you know, he often used to have all of the pontoons singing, Adrian Forbes, he's got a big knob. He's got a big knob. And I don't know, I loved it. When you were a kid, just hearing things like that.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, some of them are brilliant. And you know what I found as well is like when you're in the lower leagues, when the players are warming up, I love that they get involved with the fans as well. Like they sort of have a bit of fun, and yeah, I mean, you wouldn't see Ronaldo laughing at stuff like that, would you?
Nah,
you know, getting involved whilst he's warming up, and I guess you know that the passion that's in the lower leagues is. I fucking miss it, man.
I know, mate. Just want to go down a pub with a pint and just be like excited to go to an away game. Do you know what I mean?
Miss it so much.
So a lot of fans, well, especially if you support teams who are in the lower leagues, you don't really get to ever go to Wembley. But you got to go to Wembley 2 years on the bounce. How was that? How was the promotion? How was getting promoted at Wembley?
I mean, if you said to me at the beginning of the season, would you rather win the league or know that you're going to go up via playoffs? I think most fans would say, well, I'll take it out at Wembley. I mean, it's a great place to win. But as soon as we scored, when we scored the third goal in the 95th minute, Nathan Arnold, who then went on to play to Lincoln, scumbag. When he scored that third goal, it was like, it was just... It was mental for 5 minutes, like for 5 straight minutes. Everyone's grabbing each other, going, "What the fuck?" But then everyone's just stood there, like, "What?" Like we were actually back in the football league, and it's there for probably 30-40% of the fans that was there. It's the first time they've ever seen Town win anything. It was certainly the first time I'd ever seen them lift a trophy, and for it to be back in the football league with. All of my friends was there. There was loads of us. I think there was about 20 of us that went on a coach, you know, including my dad, and it was mental.
I bet you had a massive piss up on the way back.
Oh no! It was the opposite. Everyone had peaked. Everyone peaked, so everyone was knackered. Yeah, everyone was so spangled. It was kind of like no one really knew what was happening. Everyone was just like. Yeah, it was a weird atmosphere on the bus home actually, because everyone got carried away. Everyone got very, very carried away. So it was a weird atmosphere on the way. It was kind of like if someone had pulled us over, they wouldn't have known that we've just been promoted. But in the ground, at half time, it's just like, you know, you've got all these Northerners moaning about paying £5, £6 for a pint. And as soon as they get it, it's going, fuck off in the air anyway. So you queue up for 20 minutes to get a pint at Wembley. You pay £6 for it, and then someone knocks it out your hand anyway. It's like, but you just, it's just, I think on any other day, if I come up to you in the pub in a Witherspoons on a Friday afternoon and knocked your pint out your hand, you'd be like, what the fuck, mate? But because you're at Wembley and everyone's bouncing around, you're just like, fuck it. So yeah, these are all the times that I'm glad that I got when I was a kid, because I think I'm probably lying here. I was about to say that if we went to Wembley this next season for promotion, I'd like to say that I've grown up a little bit and I might not get as carried away. I think I probably would, yeah. I think I'd everything just goes out the window. Everything. I'm just like, I'm not bothered. I just don't care. I'm having it here. But on the flip side, I've been at Wembley when we've lost, when we played Bristol in the playoff. Is it Bristol we played in the playoff? It was Bristol.
Yeah, I think you lost on penalties, didn't you?
Yeah, we lost on penalties, because they brought Steve Mildenhall on, who's our ex-goalkeeper, for the penalties, and we lost. And you know what? It's like Wembley's a great place to go and win and have a good day out. But when you lose, it's genuinely heartbreaking. It's like, there's something about the place, whether it be you're so devastated because you've had a chance to go back up to the Football League and you haven't taken it, or whether it be because it's Wembley. But I mean we're very fortunate in that sense to be able to say that we've been to Wembley, and some of the days out that me and the boys have had there, it's been memories that will go down in history. We'll all be in the care rooms getting our asses wiped, and we'll go, fucking hell, remember when Nathan Arnold scored that goal at Wembley? Yeah, that's what it'll be.
So from Wembley back to Blundell Park, you've actually played on the turf, haven't you?
Yeah, a couple of times, yeah.
What was that for?
So the first time I played is, I used to work for the club, so I used to do my coaching badges for football in the community. So we used to go around to schools and teach young kids, just like little training drills and things like that. So that was great fun. So we had a game on there through that. I've had a charity game on there. Jack Whitehall actually played in that game. So we had Jack Whitehall running around Blundell Park. So that was good fun. But the third time was Craig Disleys, who was our captain at the time. At the time of promotion, actually, he was our captain when we got back up to the Football League. So as you can imagine, for someone like me and for a lot of people around the town, he's our ginger Perlo. He's our God. He was God that day that we got promoted, and he did a lot around for the community. He had a lot of love for the club, and he had a lot of respect in the town. And he's a good friend of mine, and which is weird to say because it's like I'm such a big town fan. And then when, like, I'll say to my dad, I'll be sat with my dad in a pub, and then it'll ping up Craig Disleys' text, and I'm like, this is fucking weird, like. And it's something that I still never sort of come to terms with. That I know a lot of the players, because we've done. I do a lot for the club, and a lot of charity events and things like that. So I get to know them through that, which is weird because I'm such a big town fan. It's a strange thing. But Craig actually messaged me. So he was retiring. So his testimonial was coming up, which me and my dad had planned that we was going to go to anyway. And he said, "Are you busy on Tuesday night?" And I was like, "No, I think I'm going to be coming to the game. I'll be coming to the game with my dad." And he was like, "Oh, I want you to play." And I was like, "What?" It's like, what? I thought it was all like legends and ex-pros, like for your testimonial. He was like, "No, I want you to play if you're not busy." And I was like, obviously, I 100% will play.
Yeah.
And I expected not even to get onto the field, but. I got my T-shirt, which was Turgoose number 8. But I remember walking into the players' entrance of Blundell Park and seeing Padre Gamond and seeing Omar Bogle, which obviously went on to play like Premier League football. Did he?
Yeah, I think
Omar Bogle go up to the Prem, or was it
Cardiff? I think, wasn't it? Was it Cardiff? Was it the Premier Cardiff?
Yeah, he went to Cardiff, and Wigan.
Yeah.
I think you might be Championship, Premier League, but anyway, so we had him, we had Shaun Person, we had all these amazing players who me and my dad have grown up. Well, I've grown up with my dad watching week in, week out, and then you've got Bogle, Padre Gamond. This is all the T-shirts, and then Turgoose, and I was like, what is? I'm turning around and I can see Bogle's fucking schlong hanging out because he's getting changed next to me. And I'm thinking, this is something that I never thought that I would ever witness. So yeah, I mean that for me. And then I was sat on the bench. I was on the bench. Obviously, I started on the bench. So, which for me, I was just like, I could fucking sit here for days, man. I don't care. So I'm sat there and I'm listening to the boys, and they're all, all the footy chat about what they've all been doing, and I'm thinking, is this what this is what it feels like to be a football player? I mean, I've done it. This is it. And then the gaffer turned around and said, "Oh, you're going on?" And I was like, "Oh, what?" So I was warming up on the side, and I think a lot of people was obviously rightly so was confused why I was there, and I was confused. I was like, I feel like a fucking fraud here, but I got on. And the ball come to me on the right-hand side, and I ran with it. And this happened a couple of times, actually. Like, I actually played very decent. And a lot of the players even come up to me, were saying, and people in the street as well were saying, like, I can't believe how well you actually, like, I didn't look like I was out of my comfort zone. And I put a few balls in and, a few decent crosses and, tracked some good runs. And yeah, man, it was... Yeah, I felt like a football player for the night. It was strange.
I'm jealous, mate. It sounds like one of them moments you just treasure. And it sometimes bothers me. I sometimes get genuinely upset that I will never know what it feels like to score in front of a crowd, even if it's 6,000 or something. Yeah, because when you said about Sunday League at the start, when I used to when I play football on a Saturday or Sunday, and there's 3 people watching.
Yeah,
in the middle of a park. I go nuts if I score. It's the best
scoring
feeling
a goal
ever.
is a good feeling, mate. Even if you do it on fucking 5-a-side, scoring a goal is a good feeling.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. But yeah, man, it's but it's all good when you get given the opportunity, because I play for a charity football team. I hate the word, but a celeb footy team. And we've played Sheffield United, we've played Anfield. So we've had big crowds in front of us, but I've also missed penalties in front of these big crowds. I missed a penalty at Sheffield United on my debut game for
at Bramall Lane.
Yeah, at Bramall Lane, I missed a penalty on my debut for the club. Honestly, it was probably the single most embarrassing thing I've felt in my life. Yeah, so yeah, I fucked it, mate.
That's fucking brilliant. Just getting back to Grimsby, I had a look earlier. You've had 10 managers in the last 10 years, so sort of averaging one manager a year.
Wow, I never knew it was that many. I knew it was a lot.
Yeah.
Is that including Paul Hurst and Rob Scott, who came together, though? We had Paul Hurst and Rob Scott. Technically, it's 9.
That's still a lot.
Sorry to pick your stats apart there, but...
No, that's all right, mate. You're Grimsby. I'll go with you. You're the town fan. You're the town fan. Do you just want to take over?
Yeah, if you want, mate.
I'll just start asking yourself questions. Yeah, so that's obviously a mental stat. 9 managers in 10 years. Is Holloway the man to now get that stability within the club and move the club forward?
Do you know what? Being down in the conference for any team, this, is tough. And when you're not getting the results, I think most teams have struggled down in the conference. When you're not getting the results that the fans expect, particularly when you're a big club. Barnet they're a huge club. You've got Notts County that are down there at the minute. They're a huge club. But when you get teams like Notts County and Grimsby and Barnet that go down to the conference, the fans expect you to go down there and fucking win every week. You're playing against. You're so used to being in the league. You think, right, we're going down to the conference. The fucking shit league. You should be winning every week. You go down, and we need to be back up next year. And that is not the case for the conference.
Mm.
It's very rare that teams go down and come straight back up. The conference is a tough league to get out of. And I think the pressure that managers feel when you've got, all these passionate Grimsby Town fans who are watching their team lose against Solihull on a Tuesday night. I mean, it's tough for fans, and they cane the managers and they cane the players. And the chairman of our club, John Fenty, he gets a lot of stick. A lot of fans want him out because of various reasons that I won't go into, because I don't understand it, and I don't. I've got my own views on that, and that's that. And yeah, but I think it's just the pressure from the fans and the pressure from the players as well. You've got a lot of players who are Grimsby boys, who are fans of Grimsby, and you can tell that they're the Grimsby lads. You've got young players like Max Wright and Harry Clifton who play for us now. They're different to the players that have come in, and you can tell that in the way that they play. So I think it's the pressure from the fans and the players, and from the local Telegraph and things like that. Just not getting the results that they're expected to get, but. It's kind of harsh that a lot of them got let go, and particularly with Paul Hurst, who was our manager who got us promoted. that was very strange, that, because he got us promoted and he got us a great club and he had the town behind him, sort of. I think if he'd have stayed, and did well for another year at Grimsby in the league and not in the conference, I think he could have gone down as, one of the best for us in previous in current times. But he left. But I don't know. It's kind of like, I think it's just the pressures that you get when you're not winning every week. Mm-hmm. Town fans can be very fickle and they can be very noisy, and they're honest. If things aren't going the way that they want them to go, that they'll lean over the dugout and they'll call you every name under the sun, and they'll tell you what to think, which is, I guess that's the passion. But sometimes it's like, sometimes you sit there and you listen to what some of the people are saying in the stands and you're like, fucking hell, mate. Like, give them a chance here. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not, you can't be expected to win every game. We're not fucking Juventus. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, Holloway's been there and done it, hasn't he, really?
The Holloway effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has had an effect on the whole town, not just in football.
He's a character.
Yeah, and he's got this sort of like, he's got such a huge presence that when he's walking around town, and he's been at the top, and young kids who know who he is, who might not necessarily know, who have never been to a Grimsby Town game, he's bringing in a different crowd, and what he's doing with the kids in the community. He's personally going into the schools on a weekend of a week, and he's giving out hundreds of tickets to the young kids who have never had the opportunity to go to Blundell Park, because, I never had the opportunity when I was a kid because it was expensive, and it still is expensive. I think it's one of the more expensive in the league to go to Grimsby.
What is it, 20 quid?
23 quid, I think it is. That's for an adult. I guess it's sort of 14 quid for a kid, which is a lot of money, and a lot of kids in the community, they can't afford to go, and it's a shame. And Holloway, what he's done is he's sort of got that, he's just turning around and going, well, if they're not being used, these chairs, we may as well take them to the kids in the schools. We may as well give the kids the opportunities to come to Blundell Park, and then that way, these kids like me will come to the games and they'll fall in love with the club. This is the dream. So they'll fall in love with the club, and they will try the hardest to come most games, and then they'll have kids, and then they'll then be brought up as town fans, like my kids will, and then hopefully in years to come, we'll have a bigger support, because the next gen. I think Ian Holloway's really thinking about the bigger picture. He's not thinking about the game on Saturday. He's thinking about where he wants the club to be in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15 years. I think he's thinking about the bigger picture. Which is more than any manager's sort of done for us, really. I think he cares a lot about the community. He's up sticks and moved from where was he living? Bristol way on?
Yeah, he's around West Country way, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's up sticks and he's brought his family here, and he lives in Grimsby, which is a big commitment. And he loves the place. He can't get enough of the place, and he loves the people. So, I think it's a major thing, not only for our generation and for the football club, but for the town. I think he's brought a new sense of belief and respect to the town, and respect between each other, and passion for people believing in the town, and not just thinking, oh yeah, I'm from Grimsby, it's a shithole. It's like it's our shithole. That's what people need to remember, is everything here is ours, and it belongs to us, and we should be proud of it. And I think that's exactly what Holloway's doing. You know what I mean?
From one manager to another, you've been likened to Gary Monk from the Daily Mirror, or is it the Daily Star? One of them. Yeah,
there's a few of them that do it. Yeah.
Was that a genuine mistake, or?
No. Well, I don't know. You fucking never know with them idiots that run them papers, do you?
Because you were on you. I mean, it was a full-on article. Gary Monk's been sacked from Birmingham, and then there's a picture of you.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. I think someone, because when I've got my ear up in my quiff, I guess I can. Well, I guess from here down, I might look like Gary Monk. But
yeah,
when I've done my
a little bit.
I've just got the same haircut. I mean, I don't.
But I don't understand how you can get, because they would have had to have, the person who's published that would have had to have gone onto Google and
Google
searched for
images
Gary
Gary
Monk.
Monk.
Yeah.
No, do I come up when you put Gary Monk? I fucking hope not. Yeah, I don't know. But it's kind of one of them. It's all good fun in it, and I guess that's what that I think with footy fans is there's a massive banter element, particularly on social media, and it's all good fun, and all publicity is good publicity. So I get him, I get Jordan Pickford's another one. I think I must be the most doppelgangery actor out there. There's so many people say that I look like so many people, and it's like anyone that's ugly, it looks like that fucking kid from This Is England, doesn't it?
The Gary Monk one is brilliant though, because I'll put a link for anyone who's not seen it. I'll put it in the link in the description or something. The photo, I don't know what the photo, where it's from, that photo of you, but it looks. You look so upset. It looks like you actually have got the tic tac. Yeah, it's like you're just standing there, and it's like you're sort of just looking down the lens, sort of in despair. And it could be Gary Monk after getting sacked.
Yeah, maybe there's a job there in future. Maybe there is.
Yeah.
Whether it be playing Pickford or whether it be playing Gary Monk, but I think there is something there. Maybe. Yeah.
So my listeners will know the drill by now. At the end of each episode, I'm asking everyone who they would play in a film, any footballer, past or present, about their life on the big screens. Who are you playing and why? Take everything into account.
Taking everything into account. I mean, I'd love to play Craig Disleys. We're both got ginger hair, similar height.
I don't know how well that would do in the cinemas.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking for my career, it would be better to be, someone's be like an England player, or I think someone who's had a good Pickford would be the obvious choice because we sort of look like each other.
Good casting.
Yeah, it would be good casting. But I mean, I'd love to play someone who's got a story to tell, who's passionate. Gaza would be a good one.
Unbelievable. That would be an amazing film.
Gaza would be a good one because of the passion and the life that he lives. Because nowadays, footballers are very much, particularly at a higher level, they're athletes, before the footballers. They are in such good shape and their bodies are like temples, really, aren't they? A modern-day footballer's body is their office, and that's how it is perceived nowadays. Whereas back in the day, you'd have Gaza out on the piss, until 3 a.m, ready, and then up to play a game the day after. So that would be fun, I guess. Like a Vinnie Jones. Vinnie Jones would be a good one. Yeah, someone like that, I think. Yeah, I think that would be a good story to tell. Have you been watching Harry's Heroes?
Oh my God, mate! I watched it all in a day.
Brilliant, isn't it?
So good. Because
it tackles so much more than you think it will as well, like with the mental health side of things, and it's just, I think there's such a great. That made me really want to be a footballer.
When they're all out on the piss.
That made me think, I just want to be best mates with David Seaman. I just want to be.
Oh, he's such a lovely bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What did you think of the Merson and Ruddock bust up?
I think Ruddock's a bit of a tit.
He's got to sort himself out, hasn't he?
I mean, I've played with him a couple of times, and he's a nice enough guy. But I don't know. I think he's fucking selfish. And again, like I think and I think they touch base on it as well, is that they're only saying it because they care about him. But I guess that's that's when if you've got a problem with alcohol, it's no matter who says it to you, it's beyond your control to listen. And when Mercy's saying, this was me 9 months ago, listen, I just hope that he does, because for any man, he's got kids and he's got a wife, and I just think he needs to. I think he needs to sort himself out. But when I said he's a tit, I didn't mean because of that. I meant because of when he didn't tell him that he couldn't play until he was already there, until he'd got the free trip. So he'd got on the free trip, and then he got there to France, and he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm here now, but I can't play. So, but I'll have a bit of time on TV, and I'll have a free trip." Just think, fucking hell, man! Someone else could have taken that, who could have actually helped. Do you know what I mean? But I think he's just he's too much for me, and I thought that when I played with him. But I mean, he's not. Nothing against the guy. I think he'd be like that even if he wasn't a footballer. I think sometimes he's just very like loud and He's, I wouldn't want to go for a pint with him.
My mates are taking a piss out of me because I almost cried when John Barnes gave Paul Merson the captain's armband. It was so emotional for me. I don't know why. I've got a real soft spot for Merson. I think he's quality, and obviously everything he's been through as well. And he's come out the other end of it, and he's still got it. He's still a bit of a baller as well.
Still a bit of a player, isn't he? Yeah. Do you know what? It takes a big man to admit to what he admitted to, and on the first series as well. Like for a man of his. He's a footballer, man, and he's an old school footballer, and you wasn't allowed to show your emotions. You know what I mean? When there was on about bringing Gaza off for crying, and it's like footballers wasn't allowed to show their emotions and be honest, and he's gone against that, and he's got this platform on ITV to tell people that anybody can struggle, anybody can have these issues, and for the whole world, he's opened the gates there for the whole world to take it how they want, whether they want to take the piss out of him, because you know as well as I do that there is people out there who see the vulnerabilities in people and want to take the piss out of it, and particularly on social media, Twitter's the worst one for it. But which it takes a lot for a man to do that, and to see it nine months later, a year later, and to see the progress that he's made, it's just fucking beautiful. And yeah, it takes a big man to openly admit to what the struggles that he's having, and I think he's done a really brave thing there, and I think he'll help a lot of people. I genuinely do think and with Lee Henderson, is it Liam Henderson?
Lee Hendry.
Lee Hendry, sorry, yeah, with Lee Hendry and Vinnie Jones. I mean, Vinnie fucking Jones is one of the hardest men you'll ever meet, isn't he? Mm-hmm. But he openly says that he struggles and things like that. So I think they've done a great thing there. It's not just a show about football. It was a show about showing that men of any walks of life can struggle. And I think they've done great there. I think it takes a big man to sit and admit that on telly. So fair play to him.
And we saw Harry Redknapp go down a bobsleigh, so what more do you want? That
was brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah. I want a Harry Redknapp to be my granddad, man. Honestly.
Yeah, he's quality.
Yeah, he's... I mean, even, I think it's because of I'm a celebrity, but Charlotte loves him as well. He's just like... And the way he is with Sandra, and, I think he's just an icon. He's just someone you look at and go, do you know what? Like, I want that. And I'm very fortunate in the sense that me and Charlotte have been together a long time, been through our shit, but now it's like, it's nice because I worship Charlotte as well, and it's nice to see. I do love it. And it's nice to see that even at their age, they're still so in love as well.
Would you go in the jungle?
Nah.
Don't fancy it?
No, I don't fancy it because, again, like I've just said, like, imagine if I went in it with Razor. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm making this sound like I've got a problem with Razor, and I haven't. He's a nice guy, and he's fine. But if I got put in there with these louder than life people, because I'm quite chilled. If I got put in there with these louder than life people, I don't think I can stop myself voicing my opinion, I think. And I think, if I got put in there with, and I'm trying not to single people out, but, like Joey Essex, these over-the-top Essex boys, which, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I think sometimes, and when I'm hungry as well, I think I'm dying. It's like if I haven't eaten for a couple of hours, I feel like I'm a bit wasting away. And it's such a fucking pathetic thing to say, but I go dizzy and I can't breathe. I'm like, oh fuck, I ain't eating for an hour, and I think if I'm not eating right, nah. And and the snoring as well, I won't be able to put up with the snoring. Imagine, I bet Razor snores like fuck.
You on to Razor again?
I'm coming for him. And I don't know, just things like I fart I fart a lot. It'd get good probably because of all the food that I eat, but I think I'm on telly, so have I got to hold him in all the time? What's the crack? I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to do it.
I really hope Razor doesn't listen to this because you're going to end up having it off soon.
Yeah, he doesn't scare me. He's an old man now, isn't he? Maybe back in the day. But, yeah. No, again, I haven't got a problem with Razor, but I think it's just that it's that larger-than-life character, isn't it? But, yeah, the reason I said, again, just say again, the reason I thought it was a tip, because I think he could have turned around and said, oh, I'm not very well. I think he'd taken a spot on that trip for no reason. Do you know what I mean? Just because he wanted to be on telly or be with the boys.
To be fair, we probably would have done the same. Free holiday, innit?
It's a free holiday. Do you know what? You're fucking right. He's not a tip. Fair play to him. Yeah, it's a free holiday, yeah.
Good on you, Razor. Done it for the boys, mate. Top man.
You've turned that round for me. Cheers, mate.
Tom, mate, thank you very much for coming on. Absolute pleasure.
Oh, no worries, mate. Thanks for having me. It's nice because I host my own podcast. Overrated everything, by the way. Because I host my own podcast, it's kind of nice to be in a passenger seat and for someone else to be taking control of it and just having a different chat, man. It's like, I think this might be one of the only chats I've had for a very long time where the question, is there going to be another This Is England, or how did you get into it? So it's kind of nice to have a different chat, mate. Yeah, pleasure, mate. Thank you.